Okay, what you wish for? What you wish for? Bruce Purkey, please
Watching
come through
Violent
with
Nature
this.
again.
Yes, what
Oh
you
yeah.
wish for? Ryan is a guy named Ryan. He's played by Nick Stahl. We love Nick Stahl, best known for his work in what is it, Carnival or Carnival, and he was also in Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Very interesting actor. He plays Ryan, a down
Second
on.
best Terminator movie.
Oh, right, very very good, excellent, Bruce Purkey.
I
I
mean,
love
was
that.
that
I love
wrong?
that. Not wrong at all, Bruce Purkey. You weren't trolling us, right? You actually mean it, right? You mean it? You mean
Yeah,
it?
I'm number three would be number two.
Oh, okay, very good.
That's my hot take for the day.
The hot take. Excellent, Bruce Purkey. So Ryan, he's a chef, very talented chef, but he has gambling problems. And what happens is he's ducking a couple of people, maybe his bookie or he's in over his head. So what he does is he travels to an unnamed Latin American country where his friend Jack, played by Brian Groh, he's a more successful chef with his own set of troubles. So Jack welcomes him to this Latin American country, and Jack is actually spending some time in this really beautiful, it seems like villa or beautiful home in the middle of the forest. It's gorgeous. There's a pool, and everything looks great. And so Ryan, again played by Nick Stahl, Ryan wishes he was exactly like Jack because Ryan feels maybe he's a little bit more of a talented chef than Jack. And eventually that plays out in the first act in the narrative. But, well, some stuff happens, and Ryan finds himself in the middle of this really extravagant lifestyle, cooking for possibly the elite. But what will he do? Ryan is wishing for success and money and a way to actually alleviate his gambling problems. What happens if money starts getting into his bank account and he's finding success? Is there a price to pay? Well, we all know this is a little bit of a morality tale mixed in with a thriller, mixed in with some culinary stuff. I end up really enjoying this thriller. It's one of these things where when I was watching it, I have a feeling that Bruce might have picked up some threads that I didn't pick up on, and maybe he was a little bit more disappointed in this movie than I did. But I was hook, line, and sinker for What You Wish For from me. What about you, Bruce?
It was okay. This is one of those movies that it looks like it's gonna be one of those movies that is just middle of the road, and I wasn't even sure what I was getting into. This is a perfect example of one where I didn't read synopsis or anything. I knew nothing about this movie watching it. So there's definitely some things we do not want to say. There's some things that happen to somebody he knows there. There's a big twist to the dinner event that we're not going to talk about. But even if you don't know what those things are, I'd say this is one of those movies where you feel like another shoe's going to drop, right? He goes down there, his friend's living this lavish lifestyle down in this, exotic landscape, kind of living in very, the very underdeveloped community, but his friend's living like a king here. And you just know that, what is there? Drugs going on? Is there some kind of crime? You feel like something's going to happen that's going to basically threaten or challenge your main character. And it does. There is a movie that I think is better dealing with similar subject matter that we saw a couple years ago.
That's
that
fair.
I will not mention.
Okay.
It was a lot more stylish and a lot more, I don't know, audacious filmmaking wise, I think. And I think I enjoyed that one a little more than this. But that being said, this movie was a little smarter than I expected it to be. And it definitely is one of those movies where it sets up the situation, it sets up the stakes, and your Nick Stahl character really has to deal with some unusual situations, and he has to navigate something he was not prepared to navigate with. And to me, that was enough to draw me through it, because as complications kept arising, not to the degree of like Last Stop in Yuba County, but there are some really good little stakes in this one, and things that are making you have to wonder, like, how is he going to get out of this, or how is he going to play this out? Is he going to make it through this? Like, there's a lot of little things like that going on. I'm sorry it's so vague, but I would say in general, I enjoyed it
And
more
let
than
me
I
tell you
thought I would.
something. Yeah, and let me tell you something. The supporting players, eventually, Bruce and I are beating around the bush here on what's happening, but I'll say this: there is an umbrella situation. There's a reason why that Jack, his Ryan's friend, is really well off, and they're staying a while in this really beautiful area because there is a hierarchy of people who descend upon the property, and those minor characters
Yes.
are well played. They're actually not rote, especially the people who are trying to move and manipulate Ryan. Again, that down
Yes.
on his like chef. I was surprised by some of the characterizations. Bruce mentioned a movie. Thankfully, he did not mention that movie from a couple of years back. But I think with a lower budget, lower production level, I think it goes above and beyond its budget and maybe its scope. I think it was a really well written and well done thriller. Just
Yeah, and without naming what the characters are exactly, there's a woman character that comes in about halfway through, and she's key, and I think she's really well played
well
and
done.
really interesting. And there's an older gentleman that comes into the scene unexpectedly. I'm getting very vague, and I think the introduction of that character and the prolonged stay of that character was
Yes.
really all those events. I think you point out something really correct about this. The writing did elevate this. This could have been super generic, and I think it was smarter than it had to be, and I think that kept me engaged more than I thought it would.
Yeah. So what you wish for on VOD and in theaters May 31st, there is a little bit of a problem I had with what you wish for. It's a minor quibble, and I will probably just talk to Bruce about what I thought about it. Well, I don't know. Maybe before we end our recording, when we stop recording, I'll tell you, Bruce, what I wish happened at the end for what you wish for. Maybe I'll even record it for Patreon myself. But yeah, I had a good time. What you wish for me,
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know what you're gonna do, what you're gonna give. Eric Holmes, why don't you just put that rating for what you wish for right now next to my name? What you think I'm gonna give what you wish for? Because Eric Holmes is going. You should have. He said, oh no, really? Oh, I don't do three bangers. I'm not a team player. I'm not a team player. Yes, of course, Eric Holmes. Eric Holmes suddenly all of a sudden decided to troll me because he knows I don't support the three banger that in Bruce termed on that Paul Schrader movie that I can't remember anymore. But anyways, 4 stars for me for what you wish for. And yes, that is probably the correct rating for Bruce Purkey. Bruce Purkey, what is your rating on what you wish for?
I was three for quite a while, but I think I talked myself up to a 3.5, and he also wrote it down. So yeah, I'll make it 3.5. I would say
I
my
am great
biggest,
at this game.
you are my biggest complaint. I guess I would say just as a final thing is that I think this movie could have gone harder. Like I think it it probably was afraid to go harder, and I think it could have. And I think if it had, it might have been even better. And it did go harder than I thought it would. Some characters came back that had things happen to them I wasn't expecting to happen, but it could have even gone harder.
There is a situation. Well, oh, by the way, I will drop this down. If you like mystery dinner theater of like element, then this has a little bit of it too. And again, if you like, I was gonna say if you love Babette's Feast, I don't know if I'm gonna stretch that far, but if
No,
you
it's
like
not.
anything to do with
Nothing
cooking,
like a Buffet's feast.
it's not. Well, yeah, maybe two different themes on that, but so maybe I'm reaching too much for what you wish for. 3.5 stars for Bruce Purkey, four
This is a
stars for
pulpy.
me.
It's a pulpy movie at heart,
Yeah,
honestly.
and Nick Stahl, great. I mean, I'm just
Mhm.
glad that he's doing some lead roles here, and I love him as an actor. Eric, too bad. This is one of these things where Eric, we have so many movies to cover. This is one of those things that I think down the road,
I
if it's
feel
streaming,
Eric might have really liked this movie. I have a feeling this is something that he might have championed.
yeah, I think Eric would have liked it.
I might check it out after watching A Violent Nature again tonight.
Again, well, I mean, again, I think that's
I
the
mean,
best.
you can watch a boring movie, or you can watch one that's
Oh,
not boring.
come on! How dare
You
you?
did. You just said what you wished for wasn't boring, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, okay. VOD in theaters May 31st.
How dare you.
Okay.
This is CinemAddicts.